A failed battery startup bought a Chinese solar giant's American factories, slapped a new name on the building, and Wall Street called it the future of energy independence. The stock doubled. Then a short seller dropped a report calling the whole thing, quote, a China hustle. So the stock crashed, right? No, it went up. And while everyone was cheering, the company's biggest shareholder, the Chinese one, quietly sold $190 million of stock on the way up. Welcome back to Stock Verdict, where every week one company takes the stand. Today's defendant, T1 Energy, ticker TE. The charge is hype. The question on trial, is this America's next great solar story or a magic trick that's about to run out of road? Order in the court. 2 years ago, this company was called Freyr Battery, a Norwegian-born startup that promised gigafactories and delivered mostly press releases. By the end of 2024, the battery dream was dead. So management did something bold. They bought the United States solar manufacturing assets of Trina Solar, one of the largest solar companies on Earth headquartered in China, rebranded the whole thing as T1 Energy, and moved to Austin, Texas. Overnight, a failed battery firm became an American solar manufacturer. In business? On paper? It's booming. In the first quarter of 2026, T1 posted record revenue of nearly $178 million, almost triple a year earlier, and its first real operating profit. Roth Capital put a $10 target on it. Northland went further, 16. The stock doubled off its spring lows and charged toward an all-time high near $11.50. The bulls had their story. Domestic solar, American jobs, the energy boom. Then the prosecution showed up. On May 19th, a short seller called Fuzzy Panda published a report, and it did not pull punches. Their thesis? That T1 is not an AI play, but a China hustle. The core accusation is about money, specifically the federal solar tax credits that make this entire business profitable. To qualify, a company cannot be controlled by what the rules call a foreign entity of concern, which includes Chinese-controlled firms. T1 says it solved that by transferring its key technology to an independent company in Singapore called Evervolt. The short seller asks one simple, dangerous question. What if Evervolt isn't independent at all? The report alleges its owner spent more than 15 years tied to Trina Solar and claims patent records still list the technology under Trina's name. It asks why the transfer was dated December 29th, months after a key compliance deadline. And, in its most cinematic claim, it asks why customs records allegedly show shipments labeled wood pallets and packing tape that weighed exactly as much as solar cells.
What?
Now, let me be crystal clear, because this part matters. These are allegations. A short seller profits when the stock falls, and Fuzzy Panda openly admits it's betting against this company. None of it has been proven. No court has ruled, and T1 flatly denies all of it, insisting it is fully compliant. But the report ends on a number that's hard to unsee. It claims that if those tax credits disappear, T1's operating margins flip from positive 6% to negative 31%, from a profit to a crater. So here's the defense, and it is not nothing. The revenue is real and it's growing. The factory in Dallas is running. 2 professional Wall Street firms read the same short report and called it misleading. Management reaffirmed its guidance, and it's building a second factory. And one of the most talked about names in tech investing holds a stake worth tens of millions. The market heard the word fraud, shrugged, and bought more. That is not how investors treat a company they think is going to zero. But here's where it gets uncomfortable for the bulls, because some of the scariest facts in this case don't come from the short seller at all. They come from the company's own filings. Fact 1. T1 has, in fact, received a grand jury subpoena from the Department of Justice and a document request from the SEC. The company says it's about one director's personal stock sales back in 2023, not the China question. And maybe that's all it is. But when was the last time the Department of Justice convened a grand jury over a routine share sale? Fact 2, and this is the one that should stop you cold. Right after the short report, Trina Solar, the Chinese company that sold T1 these factories and still owns a massive chunk of the stock, dumped 22.5 million shares. $190 million sold straight into the rally. Damn! When the people who know this company best are selling this hard into all-time highs, what do they see that the crowd doesn't? And fact 3, to keep the lights on and finish that second factory, T1 still needs roughly $225 million it does not yet have. And it's asking shareholders to double the number of shares it's allowed to print, from 500 million to 1 billion. Translation, if you own this stock, your slice may be about to get cut in half. So let's add it up. A stock near its all-time high. A business whose entire profitability hangs on one contested legal question. Federal subpoenas in the background. A patent fight with First Solar. A dilution bomb on the table. And the insiders who know it best, selling by the hundreds of millions. The bull case needs almost everything to go right. The bear case needs just one thing to go wrong. That is not a risk and reward we can endorse at these prices. The verdict? Sell. Not because the fraud is proven, it is not, but because you're being asked to pay top dollar to stand on the wrong side of a coin flip while the people holding the most chips quietly cash out. When the story is this loud and the insiders are this quiet, the smart money listens to the silence. That's our ruling, but you're the jury. Buy, hold, or sell. Drop your verdict in the comments and tell me if you think we got this one wrong. If this helped you see past the hype, hit subscribe. Because next week, court is back in session with another stock on trial. One quick important note. Everything in this video is for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It is not financial advice. Do your own research before you risk a single dollar. Court adjourned.